Now, if you want to develop an effortless golf swing for repeatable straight and long shots like you're seeing here, there's only one way to actually do that, and that is via turning off your arms in the downswing. So I'm going to show you exactly how I managed to achieve this, turning off the arms. And this is something I use with so many of my students who suffer with active arms and really tiresome golf swing that takes a lot of effort to get anything out of it. And we've had great success too. So let's get straight into it. So like we said, turning off those arms in the downswing really is the golden rule to be able to get yourself more effortless, because of course if you're turning off your arms there is no effort that's actually going into it. So there is a bunch of things that this really helps with, and once we understand this and understand what the traits of an effortless golf swing are, it's far easier then for us to internalize the drill we could talk about that I did and know exactly where we've got to go to be able to achieve this, because this is such a term you see all the time online, is effortless when it comes to a golf swing. But then when you actually ask the golfer, what does an effortless golf swing really actually entail? The feeling, of course, effortless is great, but what do you need in that swing for it to be effortless? That's what we're going to get right into right now. So for an effortless golf swing, you really need three things. You need to be able to control your low point, so hit your ball, then turf, so good ball first contact. Secondly, you need to be able to control your club path, which is way easier done by shallowing the golf club, so you can get the curvature of your shot right. And thirdly, you need to have good control over this, the club face, to get your start direction and then again your curvature in a really good spot. So this is where turning off the arms achieves all of those. So let's go into it. So number one, low point control. So okay, low point control, what's that controlled by? That is via shifting your weight onto that lead side so you can hit ball and turf. Our lowest point of our swing arc is governed by where our left pec is for a right-handed golfer. So if I'm getting that in front of the golf ball, the lowest point of my swing arc at impact is going to be afterwards, so then I'll be making contact with that ball first. So how is that slow arms achieving that? Because slow arms are turning them off more than anything. So they're not even slow, they're turned off in transition and in that downswing. That's given now the time for the body to start to move, to start to shift and drift. So where so many golfers who are really quick with their arms, they so quickly outrace the rest of the body that the body is just completely shuts off, and then absolutely you do not have the time to be able to shift. We need time for our body to do something. So if we turn those arms off, that is going to give your body chance to be able to have a good shifting movement for good ball first contact, because now the low point's going to be forward. So number two, shallowing the shaft to control your club path. So how does turning off your arms affect this in a positive way? So when we're turning off those arms, we're really light and limp and loose with those arms, so right, ragdolling them in the downswing. So as we start to turn, it really improves our sequencing. So if we've turned off those arms, that means that lower body, mid-torso, is just naturally going to be ahead of the sequencing. So that is what we want. We want that lower body, mid-torso going first, going from the ground up. And you can see as soon as I do that, gravity hits that club shaft and starts to pitch it behind me. So as we can see, starts to pitch it behind there. That is shallowing the club. And then as I continue to turn and rotate, the club stays on path really nicely. So it's just how, again, time is almost an element in this. It gives time for the club to slot in how we want to. And if we are physically trying to manufacture that with our arms, we're going to have a really tough time, because golfers who are really quick with their arms will get their hands and arms ahead of their sequencing of the downswing, again, resulting in poor low point control because their body won't shift, but also it causes that shaft to steepen, which is not going to help you to keep the club on path. You're going to be digging down to the core of the earth and hitting some big chunky slices. So again, turning them off, it's going to get you shallowing, which is going to help you for that real nice control of your ball flight, for your curvature. It's going to help you for this next bit. And that next bit is number three, club face control. But more I think rotation, because that's what gives you the club face control here. So like we said, shallowing really helps you with club path, but it is a main key component of being able to rotate through the golf ball. So rotation is superior of a way to control your club face going through the golf ball. Because if our club face is square to the swing arc and we turn, you're going to see how that club face is going to remain square. Awesome. So It keeps that club face on track to going through the golf ball, and it has a very minimal rate of closure going through the golf ball, where some players, if they really try to really flip, get those hands rolling over, really have that big forearm rotation that used to be taught, look how quickly that club face, let's say, is square for. It's square for an absolute split second before it disappears. How good does your timing have to be to be able to do that? Some of the top players back in the day absolutely did that. Ernie Els being one of the best swingers of all time. Smooth Ernie, Big Ernie. He had that type of release pattern. But if you haven't got his rhythm or his skill level, you're not going to make it work. So old Terry, who's a 28 handicap, certainly isn't going to make that release pattern work. I can tell you that for certain. So this getting these arms switched off allows that body to be able to turn and rotate from all those other areas we just talked about, which really helps you, again, for tightening up that dispersion for consistent golf. Again, effortless golf swing means being able to control those three. If you can't control those three without trying really hard, then you have not got an effortless golf swing. So this is where so many golfers will go, wait a minute, how am I meant to get through the golf ball without feeling anything with my hands and arms? Surely I have to do something with them going through impact to be able to square the face. Again, we just discussed exactly why you don't need to try to square it. If it's already square and you're turning through, you don't need to do something. But again, if you're feeling like your golf swing is reliant on having to do something through the golf ball, you have not got an effortless golf swing, and you are inviting timing into your golf game massively. I'll hear so many golfers going, okay, nice and loose and slow with my arms there, but surely I have to then shove them forward to get some shaft lean. How else am I going to get shaft lean? I just missed that one. And how you're going to get shaft lean is through nice, effortless rotation. Rotation and shifting and having a nice square face gives you shaft lean. So we don't really need to do anything with those arms at all. So for my golf swing, I feel nothing with my arms in a downswing, absolutely nothing. But that wasn't how it always was. I had to train that to happen. So let's get into one of the drills that I used as instrumental for getting me to have that effortless move and turning off those arms. Let's get to it. So here we go. The drill that I used to do. Now there's a number of drills I used to do to get my swing to where it is. So this is the one that really sticks out of my mind, that gives me the biggest feeling of shutting off those arms entirely. So what we need to do, have an alignment stick. Put that going through your belt loops. Tiny bit on the right, along the left. So if you're a regular watcher of the channel, you've seen this drill absolutely, but this one really does give you that sense of having those arms completely do nothing. So what we do, this gives us now the view of what we call our hip tilt and even our hip turn. So as we get up to the top, we can see how that stick points halfway to the ball. And as we go down the downswing, the stick will disappear around us, but it'll also face down towards the ground. Now, for me personally, because this is how I did it, this gives me a really light and loose feeling with the arms and feeling like they're not doing anything at all. So if I get it now, hit a ball, get this going down and around in my downswing, it really gives me that sensation of nothing happening with my arms. Because if I keep this moving down and around, going through that impact, that club will just nicely shallow. It will nicely have a good amount of time where it's just being nice and patient, which is such a key element. And again, for me, I personally feel like it really shuts off those arms. For other players, it might not, but I've used this with tons and tons of my students over on Skillist, and it works absolutely great. And if you're a golfer out there who really struggles with quieting down those arms, here's another little bit you can do alongside this. So this is where we'll do what we call a pause at the top drill. So absolutely, you've seen how much I like this drill from how it's helped me. Video I did about a month ago now. What we do, we get up to the top and we pause, and then do the down and around. So you're adding these two drills together. Pausing at the top is just to give you a little bit of a dissociation between backswing and downswing, just so you can segment them a little bit better. So once your backswing's done, that's done. Now you can just focus on downswing. Feel nice and nothing with those arms. Down and around, boom, and then turn through. So let's do that. Awesome, okay. What do you do now? So now a lot of players are probably going, okay, that's the drill, that's great. What do I do on the golf course? You drill this more until it gets into the golf course. So that's where this feel, yes, it's something that once you get it, once you really have done enough of the drill, you will start to feel really light and loose and like nothing's happening with your arms, like you're shutting them off. But I can't sugarcoat it here, because ultimately, to be able to get the feeling of your arms doing nothing from a golfer who feels a lot with their arms, you've got to get the reps in. You are only going to do what your body wants to do and what it's had the most repetitions doing over time. That's where so many golfers have that question: how do I get my practice, how I am in practice, onto the golf course? You've got to do more repetitions. It's just as simple as that. It's boring. It takes a long time. It really does. But if you want to get something like drill into your normal swing on the golf course and you're racking your brain, how on earth do I do it? You just got to spend more time doing the drill. That forces you to do the right thing. And then once you've done enough repetitions to where that's what your subconscious will draw from the most, then you're going to be there. So feel nothing in those arms, in the downswing, turn them off. That's how you get an effortless golf swing. So if you enjoyed this video, click that like button. More golf instruction just like this. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button too, to be notified every time I put out a video.